Hello there, and welcome back to another official DOIJ podcast. Today we are joined by our podcast secretary, Isaiah, and our news research team, and also member helper, Bliss Nitro, as well as our wonderful head moderator, 2K. So sorry for the start delay. For some reason, my Discord decided to take a complete shit and not want to load on phone or laptop. So,
do we want to post the podcast inside the YouTube channel area?
No, it'll be in the podcast announcements where I got it.
Alright.
Alright, so hopefully I will. Oops. So the tag announcements. It's not.
You're playing Farming Sim in the background, that's nice.
Yep. Alright.
Also, why did you name it 1969 Message in a Bottle?
You will find out.
10-4, copy that.
Wait, wouldn't you know, Blitz Nitro? Wouldn't you know?
Oh, you're using my art. I thought you weren't going to. I actually found it interesting.
I thought you'd be at least I thought you'd be at the very least the first person to catch on to that.
No, I just thought you were talking about something else. But I mean, honestly, dude, that article was lit. I mean, that article is a good article.
I know. That's why I'm reading this.
I'm sorry, what article again?
Okay, so basically, to be on the news research team, you have to send Zach 3 articles that could be interesting to the public. Basically, I sent him one article where it was in 1969. Beer bottle that was from a Russian sailor that washed up on shore in the Soviet Union, and someone found it, and there was a whole article done on it. Really cool topic.
You were wrong. It was not a beer bottle, it was a wine bottle. You didn't even read it, did you?
I get confused between the two, Zach.
But that is a good topic. Like, I've seen one topic in suggested topics, which I think Zach's going to be talking about tomorrow night or tomorrow morning, depends. But it was about Instagram and its ways of spreading things before everything. But that's a topic for tomorrow. But like you were saying, like that topic for that news bottle is really good.
Mm-hmm.
I like that topic. I don't know what Zach's talking about today, but I like that topic.
What is it? And is that you?
We are also joined by a DOIJ staff member.
Yep. So I'm going to just read the article, and we will discuss it. So not a whole lot to discuss about it, but you know. So this is brought to us by allthatinteresting.com. And the title of the article is Soviet Sailor's Message in a Bottle Washes Ashore in Alaska After 50 Years. Now apologies for butchering these names as, oof, they're not going to be easy, but let's see if I can get it right. So, Captain Natalie Batsanenko launched his letter into the Soviet Sea in 1969. 50 years later, an Alaska man found it while looking for firewood. When Tyler Ivanov went searching for firewood about 20 miles west of his home in Shishmaref, a tiny town on a tiny island in northwestern Alaska, well, it must be tiny if they mentioned it twice, he didn't expect to find much else, let alone a 50-year-old letter perfectly preserved in an old wine bottle. According to the BBC, the Soviet note was authored by Anatoly Batsanenko, a former Soviet sea captain. He was a sailor aboard the Soviet ship Salak on June 20th, 1969, when he penned the letter. basically when he wrote the letter. And he did a fine job making sure his message survived the sea. I had to pull really hard, said Ivanov, referring to the tight plastic cork stopper. I used my teeth to really work it out. It was still dry on the inside, and it still smelled like wine or whatever, old alcohol. The note was dry. Ivanov first published photos of both the bottle and the message itself on Facebook, asking any Russian speakers to chime in with the translation. Bosanensko's letter was essentially a kind and gracious call to health and happiness, with a playful dare to reply and greet the Sulik crew. And the letter reads, this is the translation, sincere greetings from the Russian Far East Fleet mothership VRXF Sulik. I greet you who finds this bottle and request that you respond to the address Vladivostok-43 BRXF Sulik to the whole crew. We wish you good health and long years of life and happy sailing. 20th of June, 1969. State-owned television station Russia 1 managed to track down the now 86-year-old captain and showed him his own message half a century after he wrote it. He couldn't believe the discovery and then began weeping of joy. That doesn't look like my handwriting, he said. Oh yes, look, East Industry Fishing Fleet, EIFF. And then it basically has a photo of him, I guess, in his Navy uniform. I don't know if they surprised him why he's in his Navy uniform, but I don't know, whatever. I'd like to know why he's in his old Navy uniform. Because, I mean, unless he just wears that all the time. According to ABC News Australia, Bosanenko supervised the construction of the Sulik in 1966 and sailed on it for the next 4 years. He was 36 years old when he chucked his message into the vast expanse of the ocean and was quite emotional to suddenly be confronted with the past so unexpectedly. The Russian television reporter explained to Bosanenko that the Sulik was unfortunately sold for scrap in the 1990s, which made the former captain cry. The old sailor then shared some of his most cherished items from the time with the reporter, namely an autograph of a famous Soviet spy's wife. His other dear souvenirs included a set of Japanese liquor bottles, which he has kept and cherished for decades to his wife's chagrin. Whatever. For Ivanov, the idea that a seemingly trivial find of a message in a bottle turned into a human and historical discovery has been tremendously cathartic. He wrote on Facebook that it was pretty cool how a small photo grew into a story, and said he might deploy a bottled message of his own someday. That's something I could do with my kids in the future, he said. Just send a message in a bottle out there and see where it goes. So, yeah, I don't know what you all, but I think that's definitely interesting that it survived this far. I mean, or this long. I mean, 50 years, and it was dry on the inside, and it still smelled like wine or whatever, old alcohol.
Honestly, I agree with you. Like, the fact alcohol after 50 years is amazing. I don't think a wine bottle has smelled like alcohol for that long in normal incidents, and it's kind of hard if it's getting put into the water from somebody 50 years ago, and then it gets washed up after 50 years. Like, it's going to be pretty hard to fit that.
And you also have to think about how that bottle has also been in the sea for 50 years, and it washed ashore, and of course it was right where he was looking for firewood. So that's just one of the rare things that you'll find, and even if you looked for one again, I mean, I'm sure you could find one, but 50 years. I mean, honestly, it was a interesting story, and also, if any of you are in our official podcast server, it is in the Read Articles channel, so if you would ever like to...
I don't think we can see that.
Oh, they can't?
No.
Oh, well, my mistake.
So we all make mistakes. But yeah, I mean, and it could have washed up like 10 years ago, so at the very least it was in the sea for at least 30, 40 years. So the fact that, it was still, tight and dry and, so perfectly preserved for however amount of time it was in the sea, it's just incredible. Because I mean, think about all the stuff that it had to have bumped at least against at least a few ships, and I mean, possibly some fish, some seagull. I mean, who only knows what it's bumped across?
Yeah. Yeah, and like that, I agree with that. I'm surprised that it's not broken or anything through. Like, what if it snowed and the ice, the water was too cold for it? It could have cracked, snapped, or like broke. It maybe could have smashed too, because glass is not that strong and cold. There's cheese. I'm surprised there's no water in it or nothing, and it's in good shape. Like, I'm surprised.
Yeah, and it's awesome that the captain is still alive, today to be able to actually to read it. But I really want to know, considering the fact that it said that they showed it to him and he wasn't expecting it. Why is he in his Navy outfit? Like, I wonder, did they show it to him and then he's like, oh, let me get in this Navy outfit for this interview, and go
maybe
dig it up.
Maybe it was for the photo.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I'd really like to know if it was for the photo, if he just wears it every day. Maybe it was maybe it was an old Navy Tuesday, where he just wears his old uniform every Tuesday,
Yeah.
I mean, who only knows? But the fact that, the Russian government, or not the government, but the news station, decided to actually track him down, or at least attempt to track him down, once they tracked him down, and then show it to him, and then interview him about it, and kind of spend a good time with him. It was great, because they could have just been like, hey, cool, an old letter. Let's use somewhere, so we'll just not even look, and look another day. But they spent their time trying to find him. And
exactly, and honestly, if the captain that sent that out actually read it and was surprised by it, that was actually a true amazing surprise, because you can get to know how long it's been, and you're surprised that it's still in shape too. I would be surprised if I put something out and 50 years later I found it again and it's still in good shape. I would be surprised so much, because it's been through the hard weather, it's been through snow, rain, anything.
Is there any questions that we could answer in the Sending Questions channel?
I believe there are questions right now.
For the midday podcast, just because this doesn't look good, so it's able to get in. So. But I just want to read that quick article. I'm going to go ahead and end the podcast because it is late and I'm tired. But thank you, Blitz, 2K, and Isaiah for joining. Thank you for those who have joined live and decided to watch us live, and to even those who weren't live. And Poet, it's not me, it's 2K. So 2K, stop eating the marshmallows out of the Lucky Charms. I thought we went over this already, 2K.
Yeah, 2K.
I thought we went over this. Do I got to give that down to mod? do I got to give you the motion now? Anyway, seriously. If you want to check out our amazing co-host who is currently sleeping right now, let's hope she's sleeping right now because it is 5:25 a.m. for her, then her channel link will be in the description below. It'll be Stephanie Plays Vlogs. Go ahead and check her out. give her a subscribe while you're there. Of course, if you want to join the official DOIJ podcast server, that will be the second link in the description. The third link will be, of course, the interview server link for the DOIJ server. We have GTA 5 roleplay on Xbox, PS4, and PC, PC being 5M. Now we also have a Red Dead Redemption 2 roleplay for PS4 and Xbox One. And if you want to be notified of, pretty much everything that goes on with the podcast server first, then go ahead and join the podcast server. Second link in the description. Go ahead and join, open to the public, invite anybody you want to. And if you want to be notified whenever you go live, like immediately whenever you go live, unless YouTube glitches out, which that does tend to happen, then go ahead and hit that subscribe button below and turn on the notification bell. And again, thank you all so much for joining. So, have a good one, everybody. Stay tuned, stay awesome. Thank you all so much for listening.